Hi guys and girls, and welcome to Talking Heads podcast live from Pattaya, Thailand. I'm the host Dave D, and thank you for joining me here today, and thank you for joining our family. For you guys out there, of course, who have already subscribed to the channel, thanks a lot. And of course, for you guys out there that want to know all of what's coming up and happening, hit that notification bell right now. Of course, we are a listener-sponsored podcast. We survive from you guys liking us and we liking you. We're one big family. Thanks for joining us. There's a lot to come, and we'll see you soon. Don't forget all the links below. See you next time.
Dave
Bye.
D. Join us weekdays. Check out all the latest updates on talkingheads-podcast.com.
And welcome to Pattaya, welcome to Thailand, and of course, welcome to Talking Heads podcast, as per normal, live from Pattaya City, and of course, at the head of the table, Mr. Bobby Pears. How you doing?
Doing good.
How you look? You're looking rather. I can say, what can I say? I would try and say sort of Eric Clapton-y wise today with the beard going
I'm
on.
getting ready for Santa Claus.
Oh yes, your
Yeah,
time of
with the
year
grey
is
beard.
one time a year you actually have a job, isn't it?
That's right.
We've got to behave ourselves today because in the studio,
We
FPV,
do.
in the studio, the foreign police volunteers at the head of the table, of course, Tom Coulter. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Dave.
Nice to see you here.
Yeah, good to be here.
Good. It's okay. Everything's all right.
Everything's fine.
Fine. Of course, brought you your friend. Who is he? Tell us who he is. Come on.
That's the Jamie Parkinson, who's the deputy group leader at Pattaya City Police Station.
Welcome, Jamie. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Do you like the room?
It was good.
We paid a fortune for this. We stole it from Centara. But don't tell them. Guys, it's nice to have you on the show. It's one thing that we've been trying to do is to get you guys on just to find out exactly what you do, because there's a lot of misconception out there, which we're going to be talking about a little bit later on in the show. But first of all, Tom, I mean, where are you from?
I'm originally from Belfast, Northern Ireland, and I emigrated. Well, I came here for the first time probably about 20 years ago, and
Holiday?
it was a holiday, and I'd done the normal thing. Walking the street and up and down every night and all the rest of the touristy things. And I liked it, and I've more or less been here ever since.
Ever since. I mean, it is a nice place, of course.
It's a great place, and every day, I enjoy every day, which is great.
Good. Jamie, and you're from, whereabouts are you from?
I'm from Surrey in England.
Surrey, yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry? Sorry or sorry?
Sorry.
Is he sorry already, Tom? He's only been here 5 minutes. From Surrey.
So sorry, yeah.
Sorry. I'm dyslexic, so you have to repeat it a few times. And what brought you over to Thailand, and how long you been here?
I moved over here when I was 18 years old, after finishing my studies in Singapore. And
You moved over when you were 18?
Yeah, correct, yeah.
He only
18.
looks 17 now, doesn't
That's
he?
what I mean, young guy.
Look at
young
that.
guy.
I mean, look at the complexion. I mean, look at it. I mean, look at us to you. You're going back in time, we're going forwards.
Oh, tell me about it. Tell me.
So how long have you been here?
Well, I'm been since 18. I'm 24 now. So
Okay.
a good few years now anyway. And
6, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, can't do maths.
Not your strongest, was
Yeah,
it?
no,
That
it's not that.
one? Not your strongest bit. I mean, but we're all the same. Listen, guys. Number one is thank you very much for coming in the studio today. We much appreciate it to have you in the studio. All right, okay. Tom, I'm going to go with first, okay, Jamie? So I'm not locking anybody out. Please jump in at any given time, okay, and swap about. Do whatever you want to do. Don't be scared to shout up. Bob is at the end of the table as well. He's going to have questions as well. And, of course, we're going to have these little things going as well with questions as well as we progress. Tom, FPV, tell us a little bit about it. Where's it from and what is it?
Well, basically, when I was here, whatever years ago, 20 years ago, 18 years ago, or whenever, I went, the same as most people do, to the Expats Club to see what was happening there and find a bit of information. And I spoke to Niels Koloff, who was the chairman or what have you of the Expats Club. He's one of the boss anyway. And I was inquiring at the time about the tourist police volunteers that I'd seen when I was walking up and down Walking Street many times. And I mentioned to Niels what the situation is with joining the tourist police volunteers. Unknown to me, Niels had another group that he had started up called the Foreign Police Volunteers.
Okay.
So we had a bit of a conversation. I was interviewed, and I started as a foreign police volunteer. That's probably must be nearly 17 years ago.
So, I mean, what was your, I mean, you know, a lot of people would say, why would you come over to Pattaya? Why would you come and stay in Pattaya and live in Pattaya and do whatever you do? What made you want to join something like the Foreign Police Volunteers? Why was that? What was your intention?
Well, again, what was happening was I was doing the normal touristy thing, up and down Walking Street, in the bars and et cetera, doing the go-go's, all the what the tourist people seem to do here when they're on holiday. But after maybe about 6 months, I found that probably financially and physically I couldn't keep this up. You know, drinking every night, and again, I wasn't the same as Jamie here. I wasn't a young guy, and it became a wee bit boring. And I was looking for something to occupy myself. I didn't want to go down the road of trying to get a work permit and get a job here. You know, I felt it was too nice a place and too nice a climate to be working sort of 6 or 7 days a week. You know, there was no point in coming to Thailand and working for less money and was getting back home.
I didn't want to work, but my wife thrashed me into working. She thrashes me every day as I go out the door. You get that money, boy.
Well, that's
so
it.
You're lucky. You're lucky.
Well, I was lucky, and again, I was always used working, all my life. So, after 6 months in holiday mode here, then I found that it was getting a bit boring. There was nothing much to do apart from going to the bars and do the touristy things,
And you're right in what you're saying. I mean, it's great when you come on a holiday here. Don't get me wrong, and you're in holiday mode. You are. If it be, I mean, probably Jamie knows as well. You know, we've all done it. We've all come here, and we've had a couple of grand in our pockets, and we're going to splash it out for a few weeks, and it's gone in 2 days. You know, we've done all that.
Yep.
But of course, after a few months, it does get laborious. It does get, I've done all this, so what can I do? And of course, if you make that move of moving here, of course, you're going to get out of that. Of course, you will go the odd time, like everybody does who stays here. They go the odd time. I mean, Jamie, how long are you still in holiday mode after 6 years, or you got a bit delayed reaction, or what?
It wore off after about 6 months, and then
6 months.
Yeah, it's been there, done that now. So
that's a good attitude. Are you married here, or anything? Girlfriends?
No, not yet.
Any girlfriends?
Not yet, no.
No girlfriends. Note down, Bobby. Good guy. No girlfriends. Wants job. Tom, no girlfriends. You can have a word with this guy.
Well, I don't think from what I know of him over the last few years, with the work he does in his own business, he has his own business here, and the work he does for FPV, I don't think there'd be much time, to be very honest, with social life.
That's fair enough.
He does more than probably he should do on behalf of FPV.
Okay.
So again, I don't know where the social life would come in at all. I don't think it happens.
And you're Jamie. I mean, your reason for joining the Foreign Police Volunteers was what?
For me, I see it more as a community responsibility. So I feel I give back to the community doing my FPV duties. When I'm not working, I have some free time, so I give that to FPV.
I think, what we're going to be talking about is what you actually do here, because there's a lot of misconception about the FPV, and they do this and they do that, and it's over the table, under the table, it's everything. As the people that are listening to this today are going, these guys, they're all this and they're all that, they're all backhanders, they're all this, because that's what they do. They're keyboard warriors, right? So as we talk about on this show, is things that are for real. And what is your day-to-day real role in the FPV, Tom?
Okay, basically in the FPV there is a structure, there's a very serious recruitment process, there's a whole lot of things to get in, but moving on to what you said there about what we do on a day-to-day basis, we have a team of about 60, 70 volunteers, and we're based at various police stations, mainly Pattaya City Police Station, Jumpton Police Station and Chonburi Police Station. We also do a bit of work now and again for Banglamung, but there's not a lot of tourists there, so we don't have a big need. But the main three stations that have problems with tourists and expats would be the three that I mentioned. Is
within the FPV guys, is there a lot of multicultural people in the FPV of all walks of life and languages and that, so you can cover most of the corners?
Yep. Well, it makes that's what makes my job all the more difficult. Out of those 60 or 70 people, I think the team speak about 20-something languages.
Okay, cool.
So we have people from most parts of the world. All those people come from various backgrounds. Say they speak different languages, different backgrounds. It's difficult to manage a team that's as diverse as that. But say again, we're based at those 3 police stations. We have a help desk there. Up until COVID, we also had a help desk in Walking Street. Even though Walking Street would...
Did you used to have it at the beginning, yes?
No, that's the tourist place at the beginning.
And you were...
At the Nang Nul restaurant further down at the Soy 16, I think it was.
Okay.
And basically, a help desk where when the people, if you were, for example, were to come to Soy 9 police station, Pattaya police station today, and you had a problem, the first people you meet would be ourselves. You would go straight to yourselves. We would listen to what your problem is, and then we try and sort that out from there, either by giving you advice, or if the Thai police have to become involved, then we would introduce you to whatever department or whatever officer would be dealing with that, and we assist you from there.
Jamie, what about sort of guys that have come from different countries and they're on Walking Street or wherever they are, and they've got a bit of a problem whatever they're doing, and then suddenly they say to you, well, I know my rights, I can do this and I can do that, and I know my rights, so don't you tell me. Who the fuck are you to tell me my rights, eh? What do you say? Forget all that, lad. Forget all that.
Usually.
True?
Usually a lot of things they get from the web, and usually they're completely wrong. As soon as they come into the police station, they very quickly realise that the reality is quite different.
I mean, a lot of them, guys, any of you can answer this. Walking Street or wherever we are in Pattaya with all the bars, go-go's and whatever, of course, is fueled by alcohol a lot of the times. That's going to be one of the main things. And, of course, a lot of people go off the handle. They all think that they're, Mr. Superman, and they know all their rights, and they're completely right, and everybody else is completely wrong. I mean, you guys know that you have to be diplomatic to diffuse a situation, yeah?
Yeah, well, that's the problem, but it's very, very difficult to be sometimes diplomatic when you're dealing with a drunk in the middle of Walking Street with an attitude problem. Now, I can understand, same when people, whether it's Walking Street or even in Pattaya police station or any of the police stations, we're approached by people that have they've lost their passport, they're stressed out, they've had a motorcycle or car accident, they're stressed out. Many, many reasons. They maybe had their gold chain stolen, they've been assaulted. There's many, many reasons for them to be there. A relative has maybe died and they want... So I can understand when they come to the police station that they are in different states mentally and so on. But at the end of the day, it's a matter of us trying to get them into the right way of moving forward. And many of them arrive there and they've had a motorcycle accident, and their whole attitude is one of aggression and language, foul language, which doesn't go down very well at all.
I mean, a lot of people, and all due respect to the Thais, is they just switch off, don't they?
They do.
They just switch off. They just flick the off button and wait till everybody's finished shouting and screaming and that, and then they'll just go, yep, okay, right, let's go from there.
They do.
Misconception, Jamie and Tom, is one of these things that a lot of foreigners say when it comes to car accidents or bike accidents. If you wasn't in the country, it wouldn't have happened. That's what I hear a lot.
I've never seen that one myself. I've never heard it from the police or the other side.
But I've heard it from foreigners that say it to other foreigners. This is what they say if you have an accident.
No, that's not the case.
Okay.
Again, I've been there quite a while, and I've found the attitudes with a lot of police and stuff has changed over the years, and they're a wee bit more used to dealing with the foreigner and what have you now, which makes a difference. But again, as Jamie says, most of this is read on social media or from a friend of a friend who knows his sister's friend in the pub, and all this.
Bollocks, yes,
bloody rubbish.
Absolutely.
It really is rubbish. And when you arrive at the police station, when you have the right attitude, you will get looked after, and probably a lot of people are very surprised that have been there.
I asked you a question yesterday, and Bobby's at the end of the table. I mean, I'm going to ask Bobby the same question. Just don't answer this for a second. Bobby, if your driving license runs out, out of time, how long have you got to renew it?
You have another 6 months, I believe.
Say it, guys.
It's actually a year.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, yeah. Because it happened to me.
It's a year, actually.
Yeah.
You know, they confirmed that yesterday because I looked at mine and I thought, it's 11 months and 30 days old, so it's okay. I've got another day. But I mean, now, of course, what about I don't know if you did, because we spoke a little bit yesterday when we was in the studio, and that is the new laws that have come out now in the way of, like, it's 200, 300, 500, 1,000 baht for fines now. No license being only 200 baht. So does that not give the foreigner who lives here the attitude of, I don't give a shite about a license because if I haven't got one, it's only going to be 200 baht. Am I right or wrong?
Yes, but I can't give that attitude. But at the end of the day, if they have an accident, they're automatically going to be somewhat in the wrong.
Because of having no license. But how does that work then? Explain, just if you guys can just explain to me. So what you're saying is you don't, if your license runs out, you've got a year to renew it. Okay. So let's just say that I have an accident within that year. You're saying if my license is not in date, that I'm going to have a problem with my insurance. Yes? So it's down to the person that's got the license to get it done as quick as he can before he has an accident, correct?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So I'm just saying that what I'm trying to get at is the year doesn't cover the insurance bit, does it?
I'm not 100% sure, but,
Yeah, okay.
but insurance companies often look, they look at the detail.
Anyway.
Look at any way that they don't have to pay. So
Absolutely.
That's it's the same with international licenses and all sorts of things.
So what can they use here, though? I mean, let's get this right. I mean, what licenses can be used here? I mean, there is the Thai driving license, isn't there? Can anybody from another country, if they live here, use their license from where they live? Is that allowed here, or is it the international driving license?
Over to you, Jimmy.
So
I like that.
The
Well done,
best-
Tom. You see that? That was good.
So for Pattaya, I can answer for Pattaya at least.
Yeah, okay.
Obviously, the Thai driving license is most preferred.
Okay.
If not, then obviously the international driving license. If you do use the international driving license, you need the card and the booklet together.
Okay,
and
good.
they always need to be together. You cannot say you have the card but you left the book at home. They have to always
All
be
right.
together.
So there is. I don't know that. So there is two pieces to the international driving
Correct.
license. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
The driving permit. Make sure we get it right. The actual thing is international driving permit, which is the book. But there's no point in running about with this book, flashing the book, unless you have the license. Which.
Okay. All right.
And what a lot of people try to do also, they come here, maybe from the UK. They've never ridden a motorcycle.
This is where I'm going. This is where I'm coming.
Correct,
This is where
yes.
I'm leading to
Yes.
now, guys. The thing, I mean, like yourself, I've been here a while now, and the stories that we used to run on Pattaya One a lot, was guys coming over from whatever country, 18, 19, whatever years old, never been on a bike. They've probably been on a bike on the field or, where they live up and down the street or whatever, suddenly go to rent a bike. I'll have one of those bikes over there, please. Yeah, it looks nice. It's a blue one. Yeah, but it's 1,000cc. Don't worry about that. It's a blue one. I like it. And they rent it to them and off they go. And 2 days later, they're dead. I mean, that happened a lot, didn't it?
Yes.
I mean, and now that's stopped, hasn't it? I believe.
It's decreased. Let's put it that way.
Decreasing.
It's decreased, and obviously the COVID situation has
sure.
decreased it even as well. But there still is people that
Still do it.
Yeah, I was away many years ago, maybe 12, 15 years ago. I'm sitting having a coffee in Walking Street one evening, and this person come out of the bike shop. Somebody had owned rented scooters, and they come out with a foreigner, only a young guy, and pushing a motorcycle out onto the street. The young, I'm laughing about it even still now, that's after about 15 years. The young guy got on the motorcycle, obviously hadn't driven one before. He sat on the motorcycle and decided to give it a few revs. So he's on the motorcycle, give it a few revs, the thing took off and left him standing right from under his legs, straight into a food cart, knocked the food cart over.
Wow.
And the guy came out of the shop and picked the motorcycle up, and him and the other guy went in.
Sorted it out.
And meanwhile, the woman in the food cart was busy scraping her stuff back up into the... But
Yeah. Forget the onions. Forget the onions and the mushrooms. I'll just have it to go.
so that he hadn't the motorcycle. He hadn't went anywhere on it. He hadn't went anywhere. He decided to rev it up, not realizing it's an automatic. It's not a geared bike, and he revved it, and the thing just took off and left him standing there.
What about situations you've seen, Jamie, where you've been in a situation and it's got a bit tense? I mean, have you been in any of those yet?
Is it tense in the police station, you mean, or
in the station or on the street?
Usually the officers are quite good at diffusing the situations. They won't deal with the case until both parties have calmed down.
Are you talking ties or FPV?
I would in
Both.
In terms of the two people that have had the accident, they will calm both sides down before they proceed with deciding who's right, who's wrong, and the damages X, Y, and Z.
But there is, there is a lot of times when, they can speak at the side of the road and sort things out without doing things, isn't there? They can say, well, it's not much damage to my car, it's not much damage to you, and whatever, and carry on. But some people do get a bit irate about a scratch, don't they?
But usually, what I find, and Jamie probably would agree with me, on lots of occasions, the police don't want to be involved. They really don't. They don't want to issue any fines if it's it's a damage-only accident or whatever the case. If the two people can sort that out, in most cases they're happy enough for just to go on about their business, really. But again, sometimes because it gets a bit heated and things are said and people want to make out police reports and blah, 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 and, I'm taking you to court for this and I'm going to sue you and blah, and then it gets to a stage where everybody and their dog is involved. The police are involved, the two parties, lawyers are involved.
Expensive.
And
Here we go. Ching, ching.
Yep.
The old cash register starts to ring, doesn't it?
Of course.
Here's a quick question from Matt. He says, hi, Dave, you're right in asking about you guys in the studio. Are you guys permitted to hand out tickets?
No.
No? So when people say, I've seen you guys at the side of the road picking on flangs, handing out tickets, it's definitely not you guys, is it?
No.
No.
I think it's the keyboard warriors again, yes?
Well, there is volunteers, foreign volunteers that work for the highway police.
Yep.
There was foreign volunteers that worked for Pattaya City Traffic Police, but they again weren't giving out tickets. The traffic police, again, it wasn't our group, but the traffic police used them for dealing with the foreigner.
Yeah,
You
sure.
see, mainly our job is translation. We're foreign police assistants by right, and our job is primarily translation.
Keeping the situation calm, because a lot of the time, of course, and Bobby, you'll say this as well. Translation in Thailand. The way that we put things over and say things to people, sometimes that gets misinterpreted. Yeah,
Absolutely. Communication is everything. So do you guys speak Thai Dai Nit Noi Kap?
Jamie does.
Jamie does.
Yes, I
Jamie
can,
does.
yes.
All right.
I do a little bit, just a little bit.
How long have you been here?
But I think if it was here another 20 years, it still would be no better,
Well, at the moment, I've been here 15 years, and I'm on Leapfrog 2, page 3.
No, it is difficult. And then when you take the various provinces, the different Isan and all the rest of it coming into play.
Yeah, when they come in with all the... What about the time, Jamie? How are you getting on with the time? Please tell me that you don't understand the Thai time.
The times take some getting used to.
There we
but
go. There we go.
After some time, you get a handle of them and you
So
realize how they work.
So if you was to say 7 o'clock, how would you say that in Thai?
In the evening or the morning?
In the evening.
You say Ning Tum.
See, he's taking the easy way. See, but there is other ways of doing
there is.
it, which is the difficult way. Because there's morning is chow, isn't it? Morning, what is it? Chow in the morning.
Don't ask me, man.
Chow.
You have a don chao,
Yeah.
don bai.
Bye.
Don yen.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so that's the easy way of telling the time.
Yes.
But there is more difficult ways of telling the time, isn't there?
There's several different ways.
There you go. Several different ways. Digital, analog.
Well, that is nearly right, because you can go the Nalika way.
You can also, yes.
You know, so you just use the letters followed by Nalika, which is the 24-hour clock.
Yeah.
So you can use that as well, but there is
Okay.
quite a few differences. And again, in Thailand, you can either
It
do it this way or
confuses the hell out of
it
me.
does, yes.
So it took me like a year with my wife. I'm trying to say it in Thai and telling the Thai. And in the end, after a year, I went, when the little hand's on the 5 and the big hand's on the 10. That's when
Probably the best way.
It was like, we'll look through the round window today. You remember that, yeah?
Yes, I do.
What about, okay, so the current situation now, of course, with COVID and the way it is at the moment, I mean, what is it like at the moment for you guys?
Well, quieter, a lot quieter. In the like of the two outland stations of Nha Jomtien and Nong Pru, our guys there are doing very, very little. Very, very little. You have a few matrimonial disputes, maybe a bit more than normal between foreigners. Maybe they're not getting out and around the way they used to. But again, I don't know about Jamie in Soi 9. What's the situation there?
We've noticed a slow uptick of cases in the last month or so as people kind of gradually coming back and out of quarantine. There's more things going on, but during COVID it was extremely, well, during the early stages of COVID it got really, really quiet.
And of course, from 4 o'clock from 4 o'clock this morning, as they have now announced, the doors are back open in Thailand. So you've got to basically now do your quarantine. The doors are open to everybody, and away you come. I've just spoken to 3 hours ago. I've just spoken to a plane of people that have landed and have just gone to the U Hotel in Bangkok for their 14 days of quarantine. So that's what they're doing now. They're saying, and they've announced that the door is back open with slight regulations.
Well, I think it'll be okay if they, as long as they stick to the quarantine. I think for the moment anyway.
Yeah.
I think it'll be.
And as you see now, the quarantine, once you've had the vaccination now in the UK, you get the card, which gives you, like your little Visa card thing that tells you you've had it and what you've had, and that's going to be one of the essentials for travelling. Is that you're now with your ID card and things like that, you must have your COVID card. That's what they're saying. So, yeah.
Oh well, that's another step.
I mean, don't worry about that. The flu visa comes out the week after.
Well, that's probably what's going to happen. But again, unless I think the tourism is not going to. It'll be maybe a couple of years before the tourism gets back to anywhere near normal here.
Think so?
I would think.
I think that's worldwide as well, because when I speak to, and I'm sure you've got friends. Sorry.
Sorry, yes.
Just testing, Tom. Seeing if he's keeping up with me.
Here.
Sorry, yes. You've got friends in Surrey. I mean, I know Surrey, so I would imagine there's friends over there that would normally come to Thailand, but of course, like friends I've got in the UK, have gone, you know what, it's a nightmare to get over there. It's horrible to get in. I got no chance to get in. Let's go to Spain. Let's go to Spain. It's 199 quid. There's a hotel over there. You got a flight over there. 5 days quarantine. You stay in the hotel or you stay at home. Job done. I mean, Thailand has to look along those lines, don't they? The package holiday.
They do, but and also I from speaking again to people back home, a lot of people there are on furlough and what have you. They're only getting 80% of their salary
for now.
Some of them have lost their jobs completely. So even if the gates were open completely here and there was no quarantine, they're still not going to get
financially.
Yeah, people are not going to have the money to come.
No,
at the moment.
I mean, it's I mean, what it's doing is, the way I look at it is, it's draining people's bank accounts quickly for families. Anyway, it's draining them very fast, and then of course they end up going to the social and this and that and collecting the money from the state,
of course, which
is massive. I mean, now in the UK now, I think it's 2.8 trillion quid or something. Whatever it is over there, it's I mean,
crazy.
no recovery, is it?
That's right.
And you know what they're going to do? They're going to write it off. That's what will happen. They'll just write it off and say, okay, that's it. We'll start again now.
Yep.
But I mean, guys, where you're from, in Surrey, have you got some friends that come over here from there?
I know a few people that usually come where, once a year, twice a year or so, but they've completely kind of ridden it off this year, maybe for next year even, because there's no point, because they don't want to. They only get like 2 weeks, 3 weeks off work. They got to spend 2 weeks in quarantine. What's the point in coming?
I think that will be relaxed. I mean, the runabout in the story that we did this morning, that it's going to go down to 10, and in a month's time it's going to be down to 5. So hopefully that will happen. 20 years FPV, yeah, roughly. Is that right?
No, well, FPV started, I think, about 2003.
Okay, so
But then
17.
It's about 17. I joined very soon after it started. Initially, what happened was where it was born or created was the police commissioner in Chonburi asked Niels Coloff for to provide some bodies, some bodies who could translate. And initially, it was friends of Niels that were doing this, and then it expanded really from there, and other police superintendents coming into Pattaya area. Visiting, it was only then Pattaya police station that had translators, and they seen this, and then they were wanting the same sort of service because they realised the value in it and how it would assist their officers in dealing with.
Well, it is
people.
because, like we said, the misunderstanding, the communication. Like Jamie, okay, he speaks a bit of Thai, so at the end of the day, he understands roughly what's going on. Where your person that comes over on holiday understands nothing, So I mean, it's invaluable what you guys do. What do you think? You can both answer this if you want. What do you think the biggest misconception is about you guys?
Where would we start? The whole thing. Say, I have been verbally abused more than once, called a tout and all sorts of names, and they do assume that we're getting money, and even very often, and then say sometimes very often, when we deal with a case in Soy 9, the people will offer us money. That can be anything from a couple of hundred baht to a couple of thousand baht. But we are not allowed to take any money. That's the arrangement between the police, immigration, and that was all sorted those 17 years or so ago that we could operate. We don't have a visa as such, but we operate under the instruction and authority of the immigration and the Royal Thai Police. But that is very strictly that we don't take any money.
Yeah, and as it says at the end of the F and the P, the V is the volunteer bit, and that's exactly what you do. You volunteer, don't you?
Correct. And then when people come to me, I'm responsible, my job is responsible for everything from recruiting to training, induction, etc., etc. And very often when I'm interviewing somebody that wants to become a volunteer, they're asking, what are the benefits? What am I? Do I get a free visa? No. Can I carry a gun? No. Do I get paid for this? No. It costs us money to do the job, and we get none of this back.
But it's a job you love, though, isn't it? I mean, that's why you do it.
I learned more in the first 6 months in FPV than most expats would learn here in a lifetime.
Yeah, sure.
And that is fact. That is fact. Because, we're working right at the front. We see the things happening. We know exactly what has happened. It's not a story of a guy in a pub. We know exactly what's happening. And that's why when some people come to the station, we can give them guidance from minute one. This is the best way of approaching this. This is the way you have to approach it. If you want to get this sorted, approach it by ABC. And
is it?
works.
Sorry, Tom. Is it, Jamie? And I mean this in a very nice way. Is it sometimes when you've got an older guy in front of you and a young guy like you in front of him, and you're trying to tell him what to do, and he looks at you and going, what, you little shit like you trying to tell me what to do? I know everything. Surely you've come across that.
I come across it probably once a month at least. But for me, I can only offer the best of guidance that I can.
I get it.
And see if they take
And
it.
I mean what I said in a very nice way. I do mean that.
Yeah.
But I can see, I mean, me and Tom are slightly older. He's what? He's 15, is he now? 16.
About that. Close enough.
So we're the older guys, and we're looking at you, and you're going, guys, you can't do this. This is not how you do it. And we're thinking, shut up, you little shit. What do you know? But surely you come, like you say, surely you come across that.
Well, I see it, and I can only give my best advice.
Yeah.
If they take it, then obviously they're going to be in the better for
What
it.
about the people that don't take your advice, Jamie, and and you see them, and then they get themselves into more trouble?
Well, then I can only just let them do what they want to do, and then once it comes back at them, then I can only explain to them what else they could do to remedy the situation.
I'd be in the corner kicking myself, going, I've really got to do it. And I go up to him in his ear and I just go, I told you so.
Well, you see, what I've seen over the years is all these big, hard men from Pattaya.
Yes.
And they come in and they are the hardest of the hard until they are heading upstairs to the cells. Then they're not very hard.
Yeah.
If you've seen the cells in Soy 9
I
station,
have.
they're not the sort of place
And,
you want to be.
and at Bangkok when I used to visit, yes.
Well, you know yourself.
I do know.
It's somewhere you don't want to be.
There's somewhere you don't want to
Yes.
be. If
And
you want
these
to be in a
guys-
cell of 20 with 80,
Yes.
no, you're okay, thanks.
And the thing about it is, in what we find is when the police, well, speaking again, in Pattaya police station, when they come to the end of their tether, you will go upstairs. It's not the same as the UK where you have to, it's all pace and you have to have this and it has to be signed off by the police commissioner. And
No.
if you keep going, insulting the police and you keep acting like Jack the Lad, you will go to the cells. And that could be for hours until you calm down or days. Up to him.
The thing is that we've seen, and I mean, I've seen, and I know that you guys have seen over the years, where it just escalates out of control for no reason at all. The guy or the policeman there, the Thai policeman says, no helmet, please. Whatever at the time it was, no helmet, please. You've done your helmet. I'm going to give you a ticket, 400 baht, whatever. And then the whoever he is, the foreigner, just starts to kick off.
Yes.
And then it ends up, that he goes to the police station. It costs him 10,000, and you think. Why didn't you just pay that in the beginning? It's like $8 or what, $10 or whatever it is. If you was in your own country, you'd probably get your license taken off you and banned for a year. Just play it easy. I mean, but situations can get out of control very fast, can't it, Tom?
It can, and that is. I think that's where we. Again, I'm nearly repeating myself here, but that's where we come into play very much. When the guy comes in and he's complaining about this and the other, there's not all the corruption and all the things that go on that. Again, you read about on social media and various things. Things maybe do happen, I'm not sure, but people have no helmet and they're fine for no helmet. They have no driving license with them. The law says you must carry your driving license.
Absolutely.
They have no driving license.
As it does in every country.
So they get fined. And they cause a whole scene about this and effing blind and we're going to do this and I know my rights and I know the law and they just are digging a big hole for themselves.
I mean, the thing that gets me, and I know, as you know, I know Niels really, really well, and at the end of the day, I know the FPV. And one of the things that I've come up in the past is they're all grasses. They'll grass you up. If you're sitting in a bar and you say something, they'll run down and they're going to grass you up. You're a grass, you are. I mean, that's not that. We know that's not the truth.
We don't, personally, and Jamie was saying, I don't care if I'm in a bar. Even if I'm in a bar and a fight breaks out, I have no authority to go and throw my weight around.
No,
it's not my business. If the bar is open after opening hours, it's not my business. I don't care where they open all night or not. It's nothing to do. But unfortunately, there is people in Pattaya that make money out of that sort of thing.
Yeah, well, I mean that's up to them. But I mean, the way I tell people when they ask me who the FPV is, I says they're the referees for you guys. They're the people that take charge in the way of a situation. They're the guy with the whistle that can sort of separate people, calm people down, and can end up costing you a lot less than it should. You'll end up paying, or you can get you out of a situation. You try and diffuse the situation a lot.
We do.
And there's a lot of misconception about the FPV. I mean, you being a young guy, what did your friends say when you sort of said, I'm in the FPV.
Well, here's the thing. Most people that know me do not know that I do this job. Well, they probably will do now.
They do now. Say, hang on. Hello, this is Jamie. he's from Surrey. He's not sorry. Go on, they all know you now. So yeah,
that's it. Basically, I don't go throwing myself around saying I do this job. It's
But surely some of your friends know that you do it. I mean, did they not say to you, why do you want to do that? Or are you going to make a lot of money from this? Or, surely they say things like that.
Oh, well, I haven't met anybody that says that about me yet. But I'm sure there's people that have seen me in uniform and thought about it. But I'm yet to meet someone that has said it directly to my face.
They won't.
No, I'm sure they won't. I'm sure
they won't. It'll be on the, isn't it, Bobby? It's on the keyboard, isn't it?
It's right on the keyboard.
Oh, yeah.
It's definitely the keyboard. Isn't it? Definitely the keyboard warriors.
I'm curious, how many hours a week do you guys work?
Well, we're expected to do usually a minimum of about 6 shifts a month. Six shifts a month. The shifts are usually about 5-6 hours, and it has to be sort of over 50 shifts per year.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, I'm I'm responsible for what's happening and manage this team of 60, 70 people who are given their free time for nothing. And sometimes, it makes me angry when I see sometimes them being abused, by expats or by customers, or we would say, or foreigners in the police station. They do this, they get nothing for it.
I agree.
They pay for their transport, they pay for their uniform.
I agree.
They pay for, and then, there's no appreciation sometimes shown. Now, when I used to do shifts in Sound, if anybody came in and spoke to me in the wrong way or whatever the case, I just told them to go. I wouldn't speak to them. I just said, get out.
Yeah,
When you learn how to speak properly, come back.
Yeah, exactly. One of the questions I asked you yesterday, I mean, I don't know if I'm going to ask you again because the guy forwarded it to me, and that was if somebody had joined the FPV, as I said yesterday, and lived here and was in the FPV, and suddenly they had to go back to wherever they've got to go back to for a year or two, are they legally or whatever still in the FPV, or would they just have to come and see you guys again? Can you answer that one? Usually
we have to look at when they left the country or they left the group, how they left.
Right.
We need to look at the circumstances and, if they're going to come back, what are their commitments going to be? Are they going to come here and then go back again? Mm-hmm. These kind of things we need to look at first. So what you're saying is if they left for the petty cash, there's no way they're getting back in. He took the tea money, don't let him back in. Are you still recruiting now then?
Yeah, we're still recruiting. We're always happy to get people, but it's a matter of getting the right people. As I just said, when people come for an interview, they're asking, well, what am I getting out of this? And basically getting out. Okay, some people maybe own a bar, and as one guy said to me, well, I own a bar and I want to open late. And, so if I'm open to 3 o'clock in the morning and the police come, I want to show my ID and tell them I'm police also. He's not police. He's a police assistant. And what I find, the police sometimes then take it they don't like this at all. Because they realise that
they're using it for trying to thrash their authority around, trying to be bigger than they are.
Of course.
Using the FPV to sort of like say... That's right. Don't touch me kind of thing.
Don't touch me in front of everybody, in front of their customers and everything. Look at me, I'm the guy, and it just doesn't work. So those sort of people we don't take. We want to take people that are team players and they want to join for the right reason. And that reason is to help other people and try and sort the problems out. Jamie there is a very good, because of him speaking very fluent Thai and reading and writing Thai. He's a very good relationship with the police in Sound. So if you go down, if you have a problem and you go down with the Sound police station today and Jamie's on duty, Jamie can usually liaise with the police and sort that problem out. I'm not saying you get off whatever was happened, but he can explain the situation. And very often the police would ask us especially when it's too long involved in a problem, the police very often would ask us, "What do you think? What do you think about this?" Because, they maybe don't understand exactly what's happening.
Exactly,
Whereas
yeah.
they know that Jamie or myself would have a bit more of a.
What about sorry, Tom, what about dealing with the Thai police themselves? I mean, you speaking Thai and dealing with them. I mean, how do they sort of communicate with you? I mean, do they sort of say, what do you think, or should we do this, or should we do that, or what? Do they ask your advice?
I think it depends on the case. It
Right.
depends if the case is clear cut or not. If the case could be kind of two ways out, then they will usually ask, what do you think? What do you think the real truth is here?
Yeah.
These kind of things. It's not always, they will always ask our opinion, but
Do you think that they get sometimes not because of you speaking the Thai, whatever? Forget that side for a minute. But do you think that the Thais always, a lot of the times, can get the wrong end of the situation because of the communication barrier?
I would say so. I would say a lot of problems I've seen have originated from the language barrier or not being able to communicate properly.
Interesting. I mean, Tom, over the years, of course, working on Walking Street as well, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I mean, a lot of changes down there. And I mean, now with the COVID, I mean, I think, what is it now, 19 open out of whatever bars there is.
Mm-hmm.
And also, we're still getting influx of tourists in. I mean, where do you see it going?
I think it's going to be a long time before it builds up again. We have actually taken our team out of Walking Street.
Mm-hmm.
When COVID started off, we withdrew our service. Well, withdrew our physical presence in the police stations.
Mm-hmm.
We assisted by telephone.
The reason for that is because of the COVID situation.
Because of the COVID, and
Okay.
most of our guys are over 50. And there was a risk, obviously.
Yep, sure.
Again, these guys work for free. I wasn't going to ask them to risk
Put themselves in risk.
Exactly. So we withdrew, and then we never went back to Walking Street because when we spoke to the police, there was no need. Basically, what happened was Walking Street was always looked after by the tourist police, and then a few years ago, there was a few complications, and the superintendent of Soy 9 wanted to put a team of Soy 9 proper police down into Walking Street.
Okay.
And they wanted a few of our guys with them, and that's where it all started off. But there was no point in us going down. Even I've still friends, I know the tourist police volunteers quite well, and they're down there most nights and they're doing absolutely nothing.
Is there, Jamie? Is there like if I'm the foreigner in Pattaya and I'm stuck or I need some help? Is there a helpline?
For FPV, we do not have a helpline now.
Okay, so if I'm a foreigner in Pattaya and I'm shitting my pants because I've got some problems, who am I going to call? Who is there that we can call?
Well, most people would call the tourist police.
Okay. All right.
Or the city hall sometimes
okay.
is used. I think it's 1337 or something for city hall, but most of the time they would call the tourist police.
Mm-hmm.
And both the tourist police, regular officers, and obviously the volunteers speak, English.
Sure.
There's a standard for to become a tourist police regular officer. You must be at a certain standard of English.
Yep.
So they're usually able to assist, but they can only detain people and then bring the people to Soy 9 for the case to be processed.
Right.
So it usually ends up the tourist police bringing the person that's been apprehended to Soy 9 or whatever the case, and then it's dealt with by the police and ourselves.
I just think that it's like the misconception of the FPV.
Mm-hmm.
I mean you're very good mediators and also you defuse situations. I've seen it in the past.
Mm-hmm.
With Howard and other people, of course, that I know who and they do a great job. FPV do great. Niels does a great job, and over the years has helped a lot of people. But of course, you'll always get your critics who say, "Give a man a uniform, he thinks he's God, and he'll fill his pockets with loads of money." That doesn't happen. Even the misconception of that doesn't happen.
Well, one thing we do very much in FPV, if there's any complaints or any suspicion at all, the person immediately is suspended.
Right.
And everything's investigated.
Mm-hmm.
And unless I'm very, very sure, that's him finished. It doesn't matter whether the accusation is about money or maybe even we've had cases in the past. We don't have many problems, but we have had cases in the past exactly where the guy has joined. It's usually people who've only joined a short time.
Yeah.
And they get the uniform, and then they're Mr. Big.
Yeah.
And they go maybe to their local shop, their local bar, their local restaurant, and start throwing their weight around. And, I actually encourage people, if they have a problem with FPV, call into the station and make the complaint.
Say it.
And it is dealt with. And and most of our guys have been with us for, some of them nearly as long as I've been there.
Yeah.
And, we want to keep a certain standard. Only one person can bring the whole team down by...
Well, you can if you get one bad apple in a group, and Jamie knows this just as well as we do. You get one bad apple in a team, and it tars all of you with the same brush.
Of course.
And then suddenly that's a little bit of stigma that's very hard to get rid of, and especially these days with the media. With the media and social media and the way it is at the moment, Jamie. I mean, it's very quickly widespread. What's your vision for FPV yourself? I mean, you're the young gun. You're in there. I mean, how do you see it going? Do you just go with the flow, or do you see things where there's room for improvements, or do you have your ideas?
At the moment, we're going with the flow. We're seeing what we can. Well, we're currently carrying on what we're doing at the moment, and we're always seeing what else we can offer to help. The community and also the police, both sides. So this is going to be more of an ongoing project than a one goal sort of thing. Is there
an FPV website? Yes.
There is an FPV website, which is fpvpattaya.com.
Very simple and easy. Yep. Bobby, you've been listening at the end of the table. Come on. I mean, you've got loads of questions. He looks like a criminal, doesn't he? Look at it. Looks like a bank robber.
We got a question from Michael Buckley.
Hi, Michael.
And his question is the station on Soi 9 limited to a certain area? Does it cover all of Pattaya, Banglamung for the FPVs?
Yep, it does. It covers right down to, from the start of Naklua right down to, I think it's past Stepasset and Jumped In, right on the Jumped In beach maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And it's the side before the railway tracks. Over the railway tracks is then Nongpru or Banglamung, depends on where it is.
Okay. Yeah. So there we go. Got that one, Bobby?
Yeah. My comment and observation is I think you guys do a great job in that, you are volunteers, and it's an act of love that you're just serving the community like this. You guys spend a lot of time doing this, and I salute you both. Yeah.
Thank you. Well,
do you want me to pay them now?
We'll take the money.
No, seriously. It's like, I would expect, if you're putting that amount of labor and you are volunteers, but I would expect that there was some kind of perk at the end of it, that you'd get something, but there's nothing, huh?
There's absolutely nothing. This week the team from Soi 9 has gone out for Christmas dinner. We pay for it.
Come on.
If
seriously?
Yeah.
And what about sponsorship?
We got to change that one.
We've no sponsorship.
Are you not allowed to have that?
Well, we have tried before, but it all has to be done in the proper way. So this is something that I'm maybe going to look at in the future. We did have very good sponsorship a while back from Bangkok Pattaya Hospital. Mm-hmm. They were giving us a free room for training and stuff. Cool. But then I don't know what happened. They were using it themselves quite a bit, so we didn't get it any longer.
They probably moved the operating table.
Maybe did. But this was very good for us because we do try and do training courses where and when we can, conflict management, handcuff techniques, and just the basics to keep people. But if we had a little bit, example again, we have a place, I forget what the name is, in Pattaya Thai, or Pattaya Klang.
Pattaya Klang.
One shop sponsored us a few years ago with a laptop computer.
Right.
And that's about 10, 12 years ago. And the thing is absolutely beat out. But we provide our own laptop computer. We provide everything. If we need to do training, we have to get money from the guys who are being trained.
Okay.
Of 100 baht each or what have you to pay for a room. So
I got a question here from Adam, Adam Salvage. How are you doing? All right, Adam, thanks a lot for sending the message in. He said, if you guys are on Walking Street, you two are on Walking Street, he's taking you two. You could be anybody. He's taking you two, and you've got a guy in front of you and he smacks you straight in the chops. What can you do?
lie down.
Come on, you chicken. What's wrong with you? You're from Ireland and you're going to lie down.
Well, again, another good thing I'm very pleased with. All of the years that I've been in FPV, we've never had anybody injured or attacked.
We've killed loads, but we've never.
We've killed loads, but we've never been attacked.
We've killed loads, but we've never had any injuries.
You know, again, it's a matter of talking to the people, and we always have the Thai police with us. And sometimes, for example, a lot of the problems in Walking Street is basically bar bill disputes.
Yeah, sure.
Ringing the bell, all this different stuff, and then he doesn't want to pay. He's not allowed to drink, and he doesn't want to pay. And our thing is going in and trying to talk. And if they don't want to talk, I say, well, okay, if you don't want to talk to me, you can talk to the two guys behind me with the guns. They'll deal with it.
Yeah, I can remember being down on Walking Street. This is absolutely a true situation, all right, Bobby. We were down there filming, okay, for Pattaya One, and we were doing some things. FPV were there, blah 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 blah. And there was one guy in a go-go bar. We're not going to say where it was or anything like that, but his bill was 3,000, 4,000 baht, whatever it was, right? And the guy had asked him for his money, and he ate it. he ate the check bin. He actually took it out the thing and he ate the check bin. And they went, "You owe us this because we've still got a duplicate, yeah,
yes.
in the bar. So we know it's 3,000. So, oh no, it's not me. It's not me." He says, "Yeah, you've just ate it." Anyway, he was arguing this foreigner, and I remember the two doormen literally picking this guy up, yeah, and just like marching him across the road, like, and he was going across horizontally, right? And they held him up above the ATM while his fingers. I'm thinking, why don't you just pay it, mate? Why don't you just pay it?
That's it. We've been involved in things before where you go in, the security call us and we go and we say, right, okay, is this your bin? Yeah. Right, that's 350 baht. Pay it. I've no money. You know, like, and what are the things? And I say, well, that's okay. Now the next step is you'll be handcuffed, you'll put in the jeep, and you'll be what, for 350 baht?
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
I say yes,
absolutely.
And the 350 baht will become 3,500.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, so, you know, and usually what they can phone a friend and they can have somebody come and pay with the money, but what the hell are they going out for with no money? And or do they think the staff are just going to let them walk away with?
Do you think that, like, you know, being like I mean, I've been to a lot of holiday places and worked in them. When people are on holiday, do you think that they sort of like leave a little part of themselves behind, and, like, you know, when they get on holiday, they sort of like let everything down and sort of everything changes?
They say once they're at the airport, they leave the brains at the airport. And
I was going to say that, Jamie, but I was trying to be diplomatic.
It's true, though.
It's true, though, isn't it? Yeah. No?
Oh, yeah. Some of
I mean, surely over the years, and especially Jamie as well, I mean, you know, surely over the years, Tom, you've gone, would you do this at home? Would you really do this in your own country?
That's the problem. They wouldn't get away with it. They wouldn't get away.
They wouldn't get away with it.
You know, the stupidity. That is what we do say. There must be some big room at the airport, and when you come through, you take the brain out and you leave it there and collect it on the way back. Because
absolutely,
they certainly don't arrive with it here.
Definitely not.
There was one night last year before we finished all Walking Street duty. I'm standing one night, and this guy comes up. Not an old guy about 35 or something. And he said to me, I need to make a complaint. And I says, what do you need to do? What's the problem? And he says, and he starts fiddling about in his hand and what have you. He says, I bought this stuff here last night and it's not real. He says, I've been ripped off. I said, well, what are you talking about? He says, I bought these drugs here last night, but they're copies, they're not real. That's right. And I looked and I thought, hold on, did you actually hear that?
I wanted some heroin, but got some M&Ms. Did you realise at the time, mate?
He wanted me to go and try and find this guy.
And so you should, Tom.
Of course.
So you should.
Sort it for the proper stuff.
Absolutely. Come on, do your job. Find the right gear. Unreal, though. Unreal.
Yeah. You know, when there's lots of stories like that over the years that just.
But what did you
total
tell him? I
stupidity.
want to hear the end of the story. What did you tell him?
It ended up with off.
Go off. He said, go away off.
Exactly. Because, at the end of the day, the guy didn't even realise that he could be charged,
Yeah.
know. And if I had have...
He left his brains at the
Yes.
airport.
Yeah.
If I had have spoke to the Thai police, then...
They would have pulled him. Absolutely.
Of course.
I mean, like you said, Jamie, a lot of people, like Bobby's just said, leave, or they say they leave their brains at the airport. I mean, the situations sometimes like that one that Tom just pointed out, and there's a lot of them. There's some very silly situations that you think, what the hell are you doing?
For me, I always try to compare the behaviour to, if you were in your home country, would you really do this? And then you look at it and you think, yeah, you really wouldn't, really, would you? Unless you're not normal. But yeah, it's.
But then I think there is a lot of people that come here that are not normal. I find this is a terrible. It's a terrible thing to say, and I'm probably not going to be able to show my face.
it's the
anyway.
truth.
But,
You do realise that we're in the same boat as you just said it. Definitely him. He's definitely him. He is.
but there's some people I think wouldn't be acceptable in their own hometown.
True.
But they come here, and
They reinvent themselves for 2 weeks.
Yes, they're now ex-SAS and special agents and all the rest of this rubbish.
Undercover.
Undercover and
He's undercover sitting in the Bolero bar drinking beer on the front end of it with 15 girls around him, but he's undercover. Right?
That's it.
Yep.
And I switched my phone off now at night, but before I didn't, and I would have got phone calls from people that had my number. That phoned me at 3 o'clock in the morning. They're sitting at some bar and somebody was giving them hassle. And could I sort of get out of bed and
Help
come and come down to Soy Bacau and sort this problem out?
Crazy, yeah? Listen, guys, it's been cool. Is there anything you'd like to add to the conversation today? Because you're more than welcome to chirp in with something if you've got something.
There's
that
not
we've
really,
missed.
only if there is people out there that are decent people that want to join or to sponsor FPV, they'd be more than welcome to give it. I know I'm trying to push this sponsorship.
But hey, listen, hang on. Let's do this the right way. Let's do this the right way. Just hang on a minute. Hang on.
Talking Heads podcast.
Commercial time.
Might as well get something. But especially people there that want to volunteer their time, decent people that are team players that that want to join us. And at the end of the day, we have, as you probably have gathered, we have a bit of fun with it as well.
Good. Yeah, absolutely. So there you go. If you're out there, guys, and you're decent guys, or you just want to know about the FPV, we'll put all of Tom and Jamie's details on the website. There'll be a telephone number on there where you can ring them direct, have a chat to them, and if you fancy joining in the FPV and looking after the guys that come on holiday here and being the mediator, the referee, whatever you want to say, it's definitely the place to come and see you. Guys, it's been really good to have you in the studio. Thank you very much.
Thank you for inviting us.
Hope you've enjoyed it. All right. Good. It's been really good. Bobby, enjoyed it? Been
Totally.
nice?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Absolutely.
Been a good one?
Yeah.
Good. All right. From me.
I think we got to do it again, part 2, and I want to hear more stories from you guys.
Yeah, we
I'm sure you got tons more.
Stories.
Yeah, bring them in. Let's bring some more guys in.
Yeah.
Bring some more guys in, and we'll do what we can to help you guys in FPV. We can push as much as we can, and if you need any help in the way of anything on the promotion on the websites, we'll do it as well.
Much appreciated.
We got no problem with that. Okay, from me, Dave D, thanks for joining us on Talking Heads today. From Bobby at the end of there, from Tom, and of course Jamie over there. It's goodbye from me, goodbye from him, and goodbye from you guys. See you guys.
Talking Heads podcast live from Pattaya, Thailand with your host Dave D. Join us weekdays. Check out all the latest updates on talkingheads-podcast.com.